Okay, looks like we live. All right, I'm happy with that. All right, shalom, shalom. Call halayim le Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakak, Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS, better known as Great Millstone, who rule well. Peace and salutations unto the hopeful elect, the tabernacle of David, beginning with the 144,000 and the rest of the men, women, and children whom Yahweh Bashem Shai will have mercy upon in these last days. I'm your brother Mata Zabath, checking in with another live lesson through the spirit and the power of Yahweh Bashem Shai. And I'm a very pretty cool moment for me. I'm excited because I just got through the mail today. My Ben Yehuda Hebrew to English or English to Hebrew dictionary. And when I done a lesson dealing with the topic of Esau and what the actual name Esau actually meant, I stated in that video that I was awaiting for my delivery of this particular book because this dictionary within itself is very useful to have. And the reason why is because it actually helps to find out a lot of meanings behind certain Hebrew words and so forth. And one of those English translation of a word being Esau. Now, there seems to be a lot of controversy with the name Esau because, as you're going to see a little bit later on in this lesson, is that when you have a look at the word Esau, for instance, if you go into the blue letter goes off because it'll tell you that it means hairy, all right, which actually doesn't mean hairy. Now, for those of you who don't know, the reason why I have this particular dictionary with me is simply because when Ben Yehuda translated a lot of the Hebrew to Salakia, a lot of the Hebrew to what they deemed as modern Hebrew. Basically, he was set up to revive the Hebrew language. All right. And this is one of the reasons why they call him the godfather of the Hebrew. All right. But, he's not the godfather of the Hebrew. He's an Edomite. But nevertheless, before we dive into that, let's start off with from the Urban Dictionary, which I have here on my phone, my second phone. All right. And just turn this up. Now, when you deal with the word Esau, all right, which I have here in the King James Bible, so we'll read that real quick. So this is Genesis chapter 25 and verse 25 here at the top. And it reads, "And the first came out red all over like an hairy garment, and they called this name Esau." All right. Now, the problem is, if we go into the blue letter real quick, which let me grab out my other phone here, and let me just go to that precept really quickly, just to show you. If you go into the Strong's Concordance in the blue letter, and you go into Esau, this is what it'll tell you in the blue letter. All right, Strong's H6215. Now, if you understand the Lashawan Kwadash, which is the Paleo Hebrew, which Paleo means ancient, it's actually pronounced I-Shashwa. I-Shashwa. All right. But in the Yiddish, they pronounce it Asaph. All right. Now, in the original sense, it means handling. Okay. Which, we're going to go deeper into what it actually means. But notice here in the blue letter they have here, Esau equals hairy, eldest son of Isaac, Rebekah, and twin brother of Jacob, sold the birthright for food when he was hungry, and divine blessing went to Jacob, progenitor of the Arab peoples, which is off because Ishmael was the progenitor of the so-called Arabs, not Esau. All right, so Esau playing tricks. All right, trying to he's trying to take the heat off of him. As as the scripture says, he's a vagabond on the planet Earth. But nevertheless, So what they've done within this concordance definition is they try to hide away from what the word Esau truly means. And this is where this actual dictionary comes in handy. Now, when we pull out the definition, I actually found this on urbandictionary.com, the etymology of Esau, which is Ishashwa. And it says here, the English transliteration of the Hebrew name Ishashwa, which means wasted away, are they. In Hebrew, when he was born, his parents named him Ishashwa/Esau because he was born without pigmentation or melanin, which is very true. In layman's terms, the Most High wasted away the color of his from his flesh. Esau is the progenitor of the Edomites, the so-called Caucasian race, and that's true. Now, disclaimer: when it says Caucasian race, that doesn't mean that if you look the part of a so-called Caucasian, that you automatically are deemed the Edomite. All right, that doesn't mean that because you have Israelites that look Caucasian, but they're not Edomites; they're actually Israelites. All right, so we have to always qualify that whenever somebody asks that question. Now, notice it tells you straight off the back that the name Esau, meaning in the Hebrew, Ishashwa, actually means wasted away. Whereas when we looked it up in the blue letter, it told us that it actually meant hairy. And this is the reason why books like this comes in handy. All right. So I want to turn the page 239. So if any of you Akim and Sincere Aquath own this book, you want to go to page 239. Now I have it highlighted. Now, before we read this definition, one little thing I want to point out is when you deal with the word Aisha, it goes back to the permit, what do you call it? The actual word Aishash, all right, which when we go to page 239, here at the bottom, you have there down the bottom, Aishash, which means to waste away, or to demise. So in retrospect, when you look up his actual name, which it goes back to the primitive word Aishash, it actually means to waste away. And so when Isaac named his son Ishashwa, all right, the reason why he named his son Ishashwa is because, as it's stated here in the Urban Dictionary, basically he had no pigmentation. Okay, because up until that point in time, you had let me see if I can find it just to show y'all some pictures here. Give me a second. Because up until a point in time, everybody was of one different shades of dark hue color. Now, let's see here. So you all probably seen this before. So you had, the Ishmaelites, which were of a dark skin hue color. Obviously, we know the Egyptians. You have this the so-called Chinese here at the bottom, which are your ancient Moabites. All right, you had the Medians, all right, which goes back to Japhet. You had the Persians, which goes back to Shem. You had Elamite, which goes back to is your modern day East Indians today. All right. And then you had the Philistines, which were a Hamitic people. All right. You had the Ammonites, which is your modern day Japanese people today. And then last but not least, you had Esau, Edom. All right. So if you have a look, all right, his skin was he was red. All right. And this is the reason why his father Isaac named him Ishashwa, which ultimately means wasted away is he. All right. Now, we're gonna do this real quick. So let's close that. And what I want to do, just to prove to you, is if you own one of these, which I strongly suggest you get one, all right, before the internet, all right, cuts out, because we know sooner or later we won't be able to use the blue letter. All right. So it's very important that you guys go and get you a physical copy of a Strong's Concordance. Now, if we look up Esau, which I've done right here, which let me zoom in if I can, Salakia, so you guys can see. Now, right there where it says Strong's H6215, Esau, which means Ishashwa, okay, apparently a form of the past of 6213 in the origin sense of handling or rough, a son of Isaac, okay? But as I stated, it goes back to this Salakia right here. Strong's H6244, Ishash, which means to shrink or to fail or to be consumed, ultimately wasted away. Okay. And like I said, this is the reason why it's important to have this dictionary here, because when you look it up, okay, Ben Yehuda he pretty much gave the correct meaning. Okay. Ishashwa, or Salakia Ishash, which we read in the Strong's Concordance, which means to fail to be consumed, but it also means to waste away. Now, when you go into the blue letter, all right, for those of you who are new, if I go to that Hebrew word consumed, all right, let me get Psalms chapter 31 and Salakia. All right, just to prove a point, same thing, which the blue letter has correct, Strong's H6244, Ishash, okay, which simply means to waste away, to fail, or, consumed, to shrink, i.e. fail, be consumed. And that's basically Esau, Edom's pigmentation, all right? It wasted away off him. He lacks pigmentation. As the beloved apostle states, Esau is a clean leopard, all right? He is a clean leopard. And so, this little pocket dictionary, is very cool to have it handy, because when you actually go into the Hebrew words, such as this book is already falling apart, man. It's cheap, but anyway, we're gonna make it work. But as you can see here, all right, Ishash, which means to waste away. That's why it's important to always go into certain Hebrew words or certain Greek words to get the understanding, because when you go into, essentially, if we go back here to Genesis 25, all right, which we looked up last time, all right, and you go into the blue letter and you look up Esau, anybody who has not learned, all right, they'll take this at face value and think that, oh, see, it actually means hairy, all right, which the word hairy, shayar, which when you go back out, this is the actual correct Hebrew word for hairy, which is shayar. All right. So if in fact Isaac would have named him hairy, he would have called him shayar and not Ishashwa. This is why you need to understand the Hebrew. You see, because if Esau's name was hairy, the name should have been Shayar, but it's not. So, going back, the name is actually Ishashwa, which Ishash goes back to wasted away, and Wa simply meaning he. So put it together, wasted away is he. Okay. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to get into. And as I stated before, this is really neat to handy. Now, I will say this to you brothers, be very mindful, because I just received this book today and the pages is already coming out, man. All right. This little cheap thing. But like I said, it's very good. It's very handy to have. I think it cost me right around 30 something bucks. All right. But it's good to have, little things like this, because the famine of the word is on its way. So once they send that cyber attack and the internet cuts off, it's very good that you have, your sources, all right, such as a Strong's Concordance, which this is very good to have. And as a matter of fact, before I close out, I'll show you a little bit more of this concordance. So last time I went through this, but it was some stuff I actually left out. So outside of having the Hebrew and the Greek, it also has, let me see here. Go back here, which I thought was pretty decent. So one cool thing about this Strong's Concordance that I find very handy is it gives you the Old Testament chronology, starting from the creation of Adam all the way down to Malachi. And then you have on this side, as it states here, you have prayers of the Bible. So it gives you like all the precepts. And then you have the Israelite calendar. All right. And then it gives you the months. All right. And then it tells you we had 8 equal parts within a day. Really, there's 12. We went by 12 hours a day, not like, Esau changed the ordinances where today we go by a 24-hour clock, but we actually went by a 12-hour day. So the first watch was from sunset to 9 p.m. All right, that first 3 hours. All right. And then the second watch was from 9 p.m. to midnight. Third watch was from midnight to 3 a.m. And then the fourth watch was from 3 a.m. to sunrise. All right. So, once again, 8 equal parts of the day. And then here at the bottom, you have Israelite feast. All right. Passover, which is coming up on the 23rd of March this year, 2024, the hopeful year of Jacob's trouble. All right. Then after that, you have the Pentecost, Feast of Trumpets, Day of Atonement, Feast of Tabernacles. All right. Dedication, Hanukkah, and then Purim. And then over this side, you have monies, weights, New Testament monies, which this is pretty cool. It's got some pretty cool stuff in it for a Strong's Concordance. And then last page on the back, you have measure of length. All right. So I'll give you an example. A rod or a reed will be 9 feet today. All right. And a pace, cubit, so forth and so on. Dry measures. All right. If you want to see what's the difference or what's equivalent to back then in comparison to today, what we use. And then you also have here at the bottom, liquid measures. All right. So very cool indeed. And as I said, it's well worth it, because when the famine of the word comes, it's very good that a lot of this stuff you actually have physical copies of, you know what I mean? So you can, have that stuff on hand, because Blue Letter is not always going to be around, whether you use Blue Letter or other Bible apps and stuff like that. So it's best that, your brothers and sisters, where you can, if you have the funds, start, investing in some of these stuff, because they come in handy. But that's all I pretty much wanted to share. This doesn't have to be long. I just wanted to show you the importance of why you need to sometimes go into the Hebrew, also sometimes go into the Greek, and sometimes you may even have to go into the Latin, because the Bible overall was translated originally from Hebrew to Greek. The Greek Septuagint, from the Greek Septuagint to the Latin Vulgate, and from the Latin Vulgate to English. All right. So, Lord's will, I pray that this was edifying to you brothers and sisters. And now you understand, the importance of, going into the Hebrew and the Greek sometimes, because once again, when you deal with words like Esau, all right, um, a lot of people will revert to Esau simply meaning that he's hairy, when that's not the case. It's very important that you learn how to look up the words. So, Lord's will, once again, this was edifying. Giving all praise, glory, and honor be to Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai Bashem, Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone, better known as GMS, who rule well. Peace and salutations unto the hopeful elect. It's on to the next one, Lord's will. Shalom.